What if I told you your smartphone is designed to betray you? On average, you replace it every 2.5 years. But not because you want to, because they want you to. That shiny new device in your pocket? It's part of a trillion-dollar deception that's been engineered for decades. Meet Sam, a 24-year-old marketing assistant who just spent 2 weeks' salary on the latest smartphone. What he doesn't realize is that inside this sleek device, there's an invisible countdown already ticking. Not with an actual timer, but through carefully engineered limitations built directly into both hardware and software. Have you noticed your phone slowing down right before a new one is released? That's not your imagination. It's part of a trillion-dollar business model. Sam's battery will mysteriously deteriorate, and his system will lag, conveniently, just as a sleeker model hits the market. This isn't bad luck or coincidence. It's calculated obsolescence and economic strategy. Fast forward 18 months. Sam's scrolling through social media when he notices his phone stuttering between apps. Battery life that once lasted all day now demands a mid-afternoon charge. Apps take longer to open, photos process slower, and the entire experience feels off. Coincidentally, this degradation aligns perfectly with announcements of newer, faster models hitting the market. It's like someone quietly adds weight to your running shoes every month, then tells you you're just getting slower. That's what your phone is doing, on purpose. The truth is deliberately engineered. In 2023, Apple faced serious legal challenges regarding planned obsolescence, receiving a substantial fine in Italy and settling out of court in the US. These weren't isolated incidents, but part of a broader economic strategy. The infamous 2017 throttling scandal forced Apple to admit they were intentionally slowing down older iPhones through software updates. A confession that cost them a $500 million settlement after consumer backlash erupted. This isn't random or accidental. Consider this: 83% of smartphone users discard functional devices within 3 years. Phones are designed with predictable failure points. Software updates gradually overburden older hardware. Batteries degrade after specific charging cycles. And repair costs approach replacement prices, pushing you toward upgrades. When Sam's tech-savvy friend examines his failing phone, she reveals the truth. Your battery still has 80% capacity and your processor can run everything smoothly. But these software updates demand more resources than previous versions needed, making everything feel slower though your hardware remains capable. The economics are stark. While consumers pay $800 to $1,200 for premium smartphones, production costs range from $300 to $400. This profit margin incentivizes frequent upgrades over longevity, generating nearly $1 trillion annually in smartphone sales. What's particularly insidious is how the industry has normalized this rapid replacement cycle. Marketing campaigns align perfectly with the 18 to 24-month period when batteries naturally begin degrading. Meanwhile, manufacturers have eliminated features extending device lifespans. Replaceable batteries have disappeared, components are increasingly integrated rather than modular, and repair documentation is restricted. For Sam, the revelation that his phone isn't truly obsolete but artificially limited feels like discovering someone has been secretly adding weight to his running shoes each month, then suggesting he buy new ones because running just gets harder as shoes age. While Sam struggles with his artificially slowed phone, halfway across the world, small hands covered in mud are digging for the very minerals that power it. Behind every glossy smartphone advertisement lies a shadow economy built on tiny shoulders. In the Democratic Republic of Congo, 12-year-old miners like Keto crawl through narrow tunnels that adults could never fit through, breathing toxic dust for 12 hours straight to extract the cobalt that powers the device you're likely watching this video on. Picture Keto's daily reality. While other children his age occupy classrooms, he squeezes his small frame through unstable, unlit tunnels, breathing in toxic dust for hours with no safety gear. He's never held a smartphone, but every day he risks everything to keep the world's devices running. One shifting rock, that's all it would take. The DRC produces 68% of the world's cobalt, 130,000 tons in 2022 alone, forming the backbone of our smartphone industry. This extraction system employs approximately 40,000 children, equivalent to the entire population of a small city, who earn a mere $2 to $3 daily while facing health risks that will follow them throughout their shortened lives. The economic model powering this exploitation is particularly perverse. Despite cobalt's extraordinary value on global markets, virtually none of this wealth reaches the communities where it's extracted. The mining regions remain among the poorest globally, with environmental devastation compounding economic hardship. Satellite imagery shows the scars, once fertile land transformed into barren moonscapes, poisoned waterways, and cleared forests. Tech companies maintain the system through deliberately opaque supply chains. Your smartphone manufacturer purchases cobalt through multiple intermediaries, creating layers of plausible deniability. When questioned about child labor, they point to supplier codes while benefiting from artificially low prices that exploitation enables. Every time Sam's software update pushes him toward a premature upgrade, it increases pressure on these mining operations to extract more minerals faster, with less regard for human costs. This artificial acceleration of replacement cycles directly fuels demand for more cobalt. The sophisticated aluminum casings and glass screens that feel so premium in your hand begin their journey in some of the most primitive and dangerous working conditions on Earth. Would you still upgrade if it cost someone else their childhood? When you next look at your smartphone, consider the journey of its components, from Quito's dangerous tunnel to your pocket. And ask yourself, what's the true cost of technological convenience? When Sam finally decides to replace his artificially slow device, he drops it off for recycling, thinking he's done the right thing. But that bin? It's just the first step in a long, dark journey he'll never see. A shocking 77.7% of e-waste vanishes from official records, feeding a $62 billion shadow economy. That carefully labeled bin is the first checkpoint in a technological death march, where discarded phones begin a dark metamorphosis from luxury to poison. Where do you think your last phone ended up? The economics driving this pattern are ruthlessly practical. Proper recycling requires specialized equipment and environmental compliance, which costs money. Shipping e-waste to developing nations, often illegally, maximizes profit margins. In 2022, approximately 5.1 million tons of e-waste crossed international borders, with 65% flowing from wealthy countries to poorer nations through unregulated channels. These practices bypass international agreements like the Basel Convention with alarming ease. The documented collection and proper recycling of only 22.3% of generated e-waste reveals the bitter truth. Regulations mean little when enforcement is weak and profit incentives are strong. The devastation comes from what lives inside that sleek smartphone. Beyond the valuable gold and copper, these devices harbor lead, mercury, cadmium, and flame retardants. Without proper equipment, these toxins leach directly into soil and water, creating contamination that persists for generations. In places like Agbogbloshie, workers, including children, burn plastic casings to extract metals, inhaling carcinogenic fumes daily. Communities near these processing areas experience elevated rates of cancer, neurological disorders, and birth defects. Ask yourself, is the convenience of your upgrade worth the cost of someone else's health? This toxic burden falls disproportionately on vulnerable populations. Workers earn barely enough to survive while being slowly poisoned by the very labor that feeds their families. The informal waste sector in poorer countries handles approximately 18 million tons of e-waste annually without protective equipment or medical care. The most troubling aspect? This system thrives on invisibility. When Sam recycles his phone, he can't track its true journey through the complex web of brokers and exporters that obscures responsibility at every step. Behind the smokescreen of planned obsolescence lies an economic paradox few recognize. The very system designed to maximize profits through disposability is actively preventing the creation of hundreds of thousands of jobs in repair and refurbishment. This isn't just about extending the life of your phone, it's about reimagining an entire economic model that currently thrives on waste, exploitation, and environmental degradation. Picture this: our current tech consumption resembles a fast food economy, cheap, disposable, and ultimately unsatisfying. But at the industry's margins, a sustainable farm-to-table approach to technology is emerging. Companies like Fairphone create modular smartphones designed for longevity and repairability, allowing users to easily swap components from batteries to cameras. Framework applies this philosophy to laptops, creating systems where nearly every component can be replaced with simple tools. I started my repair shop 3 years ago, says Maya Chen, who runs a successful electronics repair business in Portland. With each right to repair victory, my customer base grows. People want their devices fixed, not replaced, They just need access to the parts and information. But it's an uphill battle. Some companies disable phones after third-party repairs or sue small shops for copyright infringement on parts. The repair revolution is real, but it's under attack. These pioneers sell more than devices. They offer a fundamentally different relationship with technology. Their market share remains small not from consumer disinterest, but because of structural barriers built into how major tech companies operate. Manufacturers control the repair ecosystem through software locks, specialized tools, and limited parts availability, suppressing an entire sector of the economy. If these barriers fell, the economic transformation would be profound. Right-to-repair implementation could generate over 300,000 jobs nationwide in repair and refurbishment, real opportunities currently blocked by monopolistic practices that concentrate wealth with manufacturers while shutting out small businesses. Extending smartphone lifespans from 2.5 years to 5 years could generate approximately $1.5 billion in annual consumer savings. That's money flowing back into local economies rather than corporate coffers, creating a multiplier effect that benefits communities over shareholders. This isn't theoretical. After years of resistance, Apple recently announced a self-repair program, a concession made only after sustained public criticism and regulatory threats. This shift demonstrates that even entrenched players can change when economic incentives align with consumer demand. The circular economy offers a comprehensive framework for reimagining technology production. Instead of the current linear model, extract, produce, use, discard, a circular approach keeps materials in use, regenerates natural systems, and eliminates waste by design, creating new business opportunities in maintenance, refurbishment, and materials recovery. California's recent right-to-repair legislation marks a turning point in this journey toward an economic transformation where technology serves human needs rather than corporate balance sheets. So you've seen the whole disturbing cycle, from Sam's artificially aging smartphone to children in Congolese mines to toxic e-waste mountains. What now? The power to change the system lies in your everyday choices and your voice as a consumer. When you repair rather than replace, you're casting a direct vote against planned obsolescence. Expert Kees Balday's finding that only 1% of demand for essential rare earth elements is met by recycling reveals how much potential exists for meaningful change. Supporting right-to-repair legislation creates real economic pressure on manufacturers. The most powerful resistance? Using your devices until they genuinely fail. Each additional year sends a clear message that you won't participate in manufactured disposability. You weren't born to upgrade, you were born to question. Don't just recycle, resist, reclaim, refuse. They built a $1 trillion trap. Now break it.